Hey guys, it's Megan, and today I'm back with another 5 ways to fill your sketchbook video. This time I decided to do a Christmas theme. I've actually done this theme before, all the way back in 2019, but I came up with some more holiday themed prompts, so I thought it would be fun to do another one. And real quick, before we jump into it, since this video is not sponsored, I thought I'd take a second to plug my Amazon storefront. I made a couple gift guides on there, so if you're still looking for gift ideas, or even things that you might want to add to your own list this year, definitely go check that out. I'm going to be doing a lot more with Amazon over the next year, and I'm so excited about it. So if you want, you can follow me over there. I will have everything linked in the description. But with all that being said, let's just get into the video. The first idea I came up with is to draw yourself as an elf. So what made me think of this idea? Well, for one thing, elves, they're kind of just a Christmassy thing. Like the movie, Elf, classic, watch it every year. Mad respect to Will Ferrell, by the way. I read somewhere that he turned down like millions of dollars to do a sequel because he just didn't like the script. And if we think about movies like, Mean Girls 2, I appreciate him making that decision. Don't get me wrong, I don't think all sequels/reboots are bad. They're definitely not all good either, but I get that it's easy money for the movie studios. And as much as I complain about nothing being original these days, I'll admit it's probably easier to convince me to watch something with characters or actors that I'm already familiar with. Like, let's be real, when was the last time you watched a new Christmas movie? Like that new Home Alone that came out last year? What are they on, like the 5th or the 6th one now? Like, I refuse. I watched a YouTuber review it though. I probably will watch the new Santa Claus reboot though. Growing up, I would always watch the Santa Claus 3, and I would always think about how this was such a missed opportunity. If you've watched any of my videos where I make earrings, my ears are naturally pointed like that. I could have been one of those little background elf children, and they wouldn't have even had to do the fake ears or nothing. I could have just showed up, Such a missed opportunity. Side note, did anyone else find it weird that they would always play the Santa Claus 1 and the Santa Claus 3, but they never played the Santa Claus 2? I'm guessing there's some sort of licensing issue, but weren't they all 3 made by Disney? I don't get it. Anyways, if you've watched these videos for any amount of time, you know the drill. I outlined my drawing with Ohuhu fine liners, colored it with my Ohuhu brush markers, and I used some white acrylic paint this time to add a few snowflakes to the background and some highlights to her eyes and to her dress. And here's how my finished drawing turned out. Now, full disclosure, this elf isn't exactly like me. I have blue eyes, but I just made hers green because I thought it would look better. But I actually really like this one. I started testing a simpler shading technique like this in my last video, and so far I think it looks kind of nice. The next idea I came up with is to draw a snow globe. Again, a little bit basic, I know, but I thought it would be fun. I debated for a while about what to put in my snow globe, but eventually I decided to draw my 2 cats, Millie and Marty, in there. My cats were actually a Christmas present from my parents back in 2019. Of course, we all know how 2020 went, so I didn't actually get them until September of that year. But I drew a picture of Marty in my last sketchbook video, and it got me thinking, I barely draw my cats anymore. If you've been watching this series from the beginning, you might remember that I used to draw my cat Lucky all the time. Although, to be fair, at that point I was also a lot worse at drawing people and just drawing in general. Oh my gosh, you know what I should do? I remember in one of my first sketchbook videos, one of the prompts was to draw your pet wearing different costumes. And I should draw Millie and Marty with couples costumes. That would be adorable. We got this subscription box with cat toys in it for a while, and one of the boxes came with this little cape, and we put it on Marty, and as cute as he is, the poor guy, he did not know what to do with himself. Here, I'll insert a video. I felt so bad, but also this was kind of funny. But don't worry, he survived. He's not traumatized, I promise. I took it off right after the video, and he got lots of cuddles, lots of treats afterwards. He's okay. Marty's generally a little bit more chill than Millie, so I don't even think we tried it on her after that. Anyways, you guys know I always like to have backgrounds for my drawings. So for this one, I drew a person holding the snow globe. The shading on this sweater was a little bit tricky, but I think that it actually turned out pretty good. Now, Millie's actually a black cat, but I ended up coloring her gray because of how I did the facial features. After I was done coloring with the markers, I went in with some white acrylic paint to put some snowflakes inside the snow globe and to make some light reflections. And here's how my finished drawing turned out. I originally planned to do this whole thing with plastic and glitter like they sometimes do with Christmas cards, but I decided that I liked the drawing just like this and I didn't want to mess it up. Idea number 3 is to design a gingerbread house. I thought it would be cool to make my gingerbread house scented, so I mixed some cinnamon in with the paint. Cinnamon's one of those things that doesn't really go bad. If you've ever made those ornaments with cinnamon and applesauce, you know what I mean. I kind of want to make some things like other than ornaments with that cinnamon dough. Would you guys watch that? Let me know in the comments. I made a video a couple years ago now about how to make air dry clay, and everyone in the comments kept asking me like, oh, is this gonna go bad? Like, would I tell you to do this if it was gonna go bad? No. Come on, this is not 5-minute crafts. I promise you, everything on this channel I have tried and it works. Well, at least it worked for me, because I know I get some comments sometimes of people being like, well, I tried this and it didn't work. Well, I'm sorry, but you probably did it wrong. I feel terrible saying that, but seriously, if you ever like have trouble with a project, message me. I will help you figure it out. You can do it. I believe in you. I think I did add a little bit too much cinnamon to the paint though. The only thing you need to remember if you do this is that cinnamon, it'll make the paint dry faster. And the more you add, the faster it'll dry. But I thought this was so cool. It's basically a DIY scratch and sniff. Unless you're allergic to cinnamon. In that case, I would maybe skip that step. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about gingerbread houses. On one hand, I mean, they're fun to make, they look pretty, but I never actually eat them. Do people eat gingerbread houses? Comment down below. I have seen some people make some pretty cool ones though. I made my gingerbread house this pink and green pastel theme. I really like the whole like pink pastel color schemes that some people decorate with. It's giving like Eloise at Christmas time. You know, after almost 20 years, that is still my favorite Christmas movie. Don't ask me why, I don't really know, but it still holds up. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Christmas movie? I ended up only mixing the cinnamon with the brown paint. I just used regular paint for the rest of the colors. I did some of the details with regular acrylic paint, and some of them with Posca pens. And once I was happy with it, here's how the finished page turned out. This definitely isn't like the fanciest or the most detailed page that I've done, but I had a lot of fun with it. Plus, it smells amazing. I always love adding little interactive details like that. I think this technique would be fun to use on Christmas cards. Or you could even paint a canvas and have a gingerbread house that lasts forever. The next idea is to paint a Christmas tree. This is a super easy technique. I promise anyone can do it. The first thing that I did was paint the background. I used 2 shades of blue and some white for this. First, I went in with my darkest blue and painted that about halfway down the page. Then I mixed a little bit of that dark blue with some light blue, bringing that down just a little bit, then back up over the dark blue to blend it in and create a gradient. Then I went in with some of that light blue by itself, again dragging it up a little bit to create a gradient. And to finish the sky, I mixed some of the light blue with white and blended it up the same way. I still had a little bit of color on my brush, so I dragged that over the bottom section to create shadows in the snow. Then I went in with some solid white on top of that to finish the background. For the actual tree, first I used a small brush to create a line with some dark green. This will basically be the tree trunk. Then I used a brush that was flat at the top like this to create the branches. I used 2 colors for this, but you can just use 1 if you want. So you're gonna dip your brush into the paint and dab off some of the excess onto your palette. I stamped my brush like this in sort of a triangle shape to create the top of the tree. For the rest of the branches, same thing. You just pick up a little bit of paint, dab off the excess, then dab your brush across the page in a straight line, making the lines a little bit longer each time as you move your way down the tree. When I got to the bottom of my tree, I thought the branches looked a little bit too sparse. So I used that same technique to go over the tree again, only this time I just used the darker green. If you want, you can concentrate the paint a little bit more towards the middle to cover up the line that we drew. You could stop here, or you can add some snow to your tree. I used that same technique of picking up a little bit of paint, dabbing off the excess, then stamping lines onto the trees. Only this time I used white paint, and I made the lines a little bit more random and further apart. Again, you could also stop here, or you could add Christmas lights. For these, you'll want to use a smaller brush with a round head. Dip it into your paint, then wipe off most of the excess paint on a paper towel. Now use your brush to create little circles scattered all over the tree. This technique where you wipe the paint off like this will sort of help to make it look like the lights are glowing. I did a whole bunch of different colors for this. I did red, yellow, blue, pink, and orange, I believe. I thought my tree was still missing something, so I wanted to add a star on top. I sketched a star in pencil first, then I painted with some watered down yellow paint, going slightly outside the lines to try to make it look like the star was glowing. Honestly, not sure how well that worked, but hey, I tried. Then I filled in the star with a gold Posca pen and outlined it with a fine liner. And here's how my finished painting turned out. This is such a simple technique. Again, I think this would look great on a DIY Christmas card, or on a canvas to use as a Christmas decoration. The last idea is to draw someone wearing a pair of Christmas PJs. We never did the whole matching PJ thing in my family, but I always see pictures and I think that it's such a cute idea. My sister and I did have matching outfits for like pictures sometimes, which personally I was never a huge fan of, being about 5 years older than her. but I feel like if my family did this now, we'd just have to do like similar colors or something. But let's be real, we are not those kinds of people. You sort of have to wonder how I got into the whole social media thing, because I am definitely not one of those perfect like influencer people. I would like to start taking like more pictures and doing more on camera though, but with my current situation, I don't really have anywhere nice to do it. I'm actually super excited though, because my dad said that he'd help me build like a studio/office space next year. I'm currently drawing out the plans for it so we can buy the materials within the next couple weeks, but it probably won't get done for a while. I think I'm gonna have it split into 2 sections. So in one room, it'll be like a nice big open space to film, and in the other room, I'll have like some storage and like my craft supplies and stuff like that, which I desperately need because it kind of feels like the walls are closing in on me in here. I'm sure I'll end up filming some of that, so stay tuned for that. I'll definitely let you know when that gets done. But anyways, I kept this drawing pretty simple. I just drew this girl wearing red pajamas with a green shirt and some green slippers. Don't ask me why she's wearing shorts. Maybe she lives in Florida or something. Has anyone ever been to Disney World around Christmas? I have not. I've only been during the summer, but I used to watch these like Food Network specials about it, and you know, the parade on ABC as a kid, and it always looked so much fun. But now as an adult, I'm just like, it just kind of looks hot and crowded. Like, I'd rather stay home. I'm like, not fun. I did the background with some acrylic paint this time. I did a beige color for the walls and a darker brown for the floor. Then I used that same tree painting technique that we used in the last idea to paint a Christmas tree in the background. I used a darker brown to paint shadows underneath her, then added some lights to the tree. And here's how the finished page turned out. I was originally going to make the pajamas plaid, but I kind of liked how they looked plain, and I figured I better stop while I was ahead. That's one thing that I'm really trying to work on. A lot of times I'll end up doing too much for these drawings, but also just everything else in my life. And I think sometimes, it's good to know when to stop. But on that note, that was everything for today's video. Make sure to let me know which drawing was your favorite. I think my favorite was either the elf drawing or the snow globe. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My merch, my website, and all of my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!